Welcome to Bonga Dada Bonga. Hey, Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada
Bonga
Bonga.
Dada Bonga.
Bonga Dada Bonga Dada Bonga Dada
Dada
Bonga.
Bonga.
All right. Bonga Dada Bonga. It's a platform for women's voices. I am your correspondent, Dashanaba King, along with correspondent Teresa Kemp, who is not present tonight. We serve as show commentators for Bonga Dada Bonga. And from time to time, we will bring on other co anchors and other hosts for the show, as well as a very, very, very exciting roster of various guests. Okay? So that's what's going to be happening in Bonga Dada Bonga. Let me show you what we are up to doing tonight. So in studio, we have our co host, Coach Rukaya, and entrepreneur Lilian Maira. She's going to tell you about something, but let's give them a chance to greet you.
Lilian.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. I have such good things in store for you, so you just stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Peace and blessings. This is Sister Rakaya, your coach, holistic coach. I have a very little secret to share with you, one of my sheroes. So I am excited.
Hey, I happen to know her, Shiro, and guess what? Queen Mother is excited too. Very, very, very excited too. So, as we stated, as our stand-in co-anchor tonight, we do have expert health and wellness professional from the Republic of Panama. We have the one and only Coach Rakaya Murphy, and our show spotlight tonight is, of course, designer Lilian. She's the founder of PAMBO LETU fashion leather bags. She's actually going to show us the bags tonight. She's going to tell us the price of the bags. And by weekend, you should have yours. How about that? Our feature for this show tonight is Black History Month pioneers. And we'll be talking about Bessie Coleman, Robert Abbott, and Maxine Waters. Okay. Um, I want to just give a shout out to some of the people tuning in right now. Hello to Nana, who said she will be at our chat room tonight. Nana is also Teresa, our correspondent on the show, along with myself. What I do want to say to you that is that Rakaya is a mother of seven. She's a grandmother of seven, and she's been teaching Spanish in America and in other Spanish speaking countries for over 35 years. So if you have a desire to learn Spanish, let us know, and Queen Mother will hook you up. Queen Mother will hook you up. All right. Again, health and wellness is her passion, and it oozes out of her when she talks about it, as you will find out tonight. She will be ushering in the program along with me as we delve into Black history and bring headline news. Okay, so now we're going to turn you over to co-anchor Rakaya.
Thank you, Queen. Bonga Dada Bonga is a new platform for
Bonga
women's
dada bonga.
voices.
Bonga
Bonga
dada
Dada
bonga.
Bonga. Bonga
Bonga
Dada
dada
Bonga.
bonga.
A site, a point, a space that thrives to amplify voices of women and survivors who have been historically silenced. Bonga Dada Bonga
Bonga dada
joins,
bonga.
joins a growing list of service organizations and supporters of women causes in countries across North America, Latin America, the Pacific Rim, and Africa. You will hear phenomenal, extraordinary, even heartbreaking stories of some of the
That's true.
most
That's right.
courageous, powerful, and inspiring women, girls, and some men too. You even meet each and every one of them is a superhero. And at Bonga Dada Bonga,
Bonga
we
dada
are
bonga.
honored and proud to share their stories with you. To dispel why is Bonga Dada Bonga important? To dispel the myths, misconceptions about what women roles are, what women can do, and in fact, what women around the globe are doing. It is an excellent opportunity to generate visibility, familiarity, understanding, comprehension, realization, and support for women's aspirations, of which there are many, and promote awareness raising about women in many cultures from a diversity of cultures in Namibia, South America, Ukraine, Israel, Kenya, and other countries. Thank you for tuning in to BongaDadaBonga, a new platform. BongaDadaBonga, a new platform for women's voices every Thursday live at 11 a.m. New York time, 7 p.m. from East Africa. Queen?
All right. Thank you so very much for that. That was a terrific talking to the people about who we are. And one day we're actually going to break down what is BongaDadaBonga and why it is important and go through some of those very points that we've been pointing out. Now, how the show works, here's what we want you to get, is that BongaDadaBonga is your show. This is a show for women's voices across the globe. Whatever it is you want to talk about, this platform is available for you to speak on it. Because a lot of the views and opinions may not necessarily be my view or Coach's view or Lilian's view, but you can give your view. That's what BongaDadaBonga is all about. So we have various women in their various leadership roles and influencers who will come on and moderate the shows as, again, a anchor or a co-anchor. They will talk about news events and they will also be addressing the current state of affairs and trends. And you know that things are happening all the time. Okay. The anchors are from a colorful spectrum of people. They could be journalists, entrepreneurs, campaign managers, activists, political analysts, women organizations, publicists, educators, and whoever they are. They will come on as an anchor or a co-anchor, and they will deliver their opinions, their commentary, and their analysis on the matters at hand. Okay, so that's what we are all about. And I hope one day, Lilian, that you as coach will give us some guests to have on the show. Okay, and now let's give you some of the latest headlines in world news. In Istanbul, Turkey, survivors are still being pulled from the rubble in Turkey and in Syria. More than 48 hours more after that powerful earthquake they had that toppled thousands of homes and killing 5,000. I think the last count I saw was almost 6,000 people. Among the survivors was a 14-year-old boy who had a black eye, and somehow he appeared to be conscious. Now, while the boy's rescue offers a glimmer of hope, let's just be clear that others will survive. We hope that others will be able to survive the freezing conditions over there, because the death toll continues to climb as the search for people continues to be taking place. So let's all send love and light to Turkey and to Syria. I'm assuming that you saw on the news how those buildings were just toppling over, like they were a play toy. Huge cemented buildings toppling over in the wake of that earthquake. It was a 7.8. Now, I used to live in Los Angeles, and I can remember a 6 point on the Richter scale. I can remember a 7 point on the Richter scale, but in this case, it was a 7.8 magnitude quake. It hit after about 4 o'clock in the morning, local time, Monday, over there in Turkey. And they sent tremors for thousands of miles and created disaster zones for both the Turkey side of the border and the Syria side of the border. So once again, let's send love and light. I want to say hello and welcome to those tuning in to BongaDadaBonga. All right, another piece of news. Suspected Chinese spy balloon, the size of a 20-story building, can you imagine that? Flew into the U.S. airspace from China. How about that? China insists that they travel over U.S. territory by mistake. While China called the U.S. takedown an overreaction, because the U.S. certainly blew the thing out of the sky, right? They blew it out of the sky, and China said, you guys are overreacting, but they also issued an apology, and they had a similar thing that happened that flew over Latin America. Another piece of news from the Supreme Court. They've been hearing an oral argument in the case of Lori Smith, the website designer who wants to expand her business to include designing websites, wedding websites, but she wants to do it for opposite sex couples only. Opposite sex couples. In other words, she does not want to do this work for couples who are not man and woman. How about that? She's challenging a Colorado law that prohibits businesses from discriminating against LGBTQ folk. Okay. She argues that requiring her to create a website for them would violate her right to freedom of speech. That case is still ongoing in court as we speak. Something very exciting, and Lilian, I hope you'll write this down and pass it on to your friends. With the rising demand of local African film and TV shows, streaming service Showmax, the Showmax people, they set out a budget to fund 10 live action film pictures from first time African filmmakers. And they're going to do this for Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa. Did you hear that? So any filmmakers that we may know in those countries, we want to let them know about this because it is very, very, very important. Okay, so now stay in touch, and we'll be tuning into what they're doing in terms of helping to create more African filmmakers. Okay, so this is our world news for today. So thank you for tuning in and listening to the BongaDadaBonga. Please meet our spotlight guest. And Rakaya, are you ready?
Yes, today we have the distinct pleasure of introducing Lilian Maina of PAMBO LETU handbags, company visiting the studio, and we acknowledge the month of February with Black History facts, quotes, leaders, and speakers all month long. What do you know about? I'm going to skip that part because I don't think I was supposed to put that part in.
No, you're supposed to be giving us the bio of Lilian.
Okay. Founded by Lilian Maina in 2019, PAMBO LETU is a sustainable Kenyan brand that celebrates traditional craftsmanship while empowering local artisans through sustainable livelihoods. PAMBO LETU combines rich indigenous techniques that have been passed down through the generations with modern and exotic designs to create one-of-a-kind handmade bags that embody the African story. Each piece is forged in leather science, woven and sewn with canvas artistry, and each design ranges from sophistication of the miniature to the gratification of the large. PAMBO LETU's mission is not only to make African handmade bags more accessible to the world, but to build lasting relationships with our local artisans and give them the respect, income, and exposure they deserve. I introduce to you Lilian Maina. Lilian?
Okay.
Greetings.
There's the beautiful Lilian. What an impressive bio that you have. And I want to welcome you to the BongaDadaBonga show. Now, I want you to know that she was on the Queen Mother Speak show earlier in the week, and we were so delighted and we got so many comments. So we decided we wanted her to be on this show as well. So my first question for you, my dear, is having worked as a fashion designer in Kenya for almost 2 decades, give us just a few highlights of your journey.
Okay, thank you so much for having me again this evening. I'm super excited about this show, Bonga Dada Bonga. It's such an amazing, the rhyme was. Um, I've been in the fashion industry for a bit, and my learning experience is actually more of discovering what is it that you have within yourself. Yes, I want to become a fashion designer, but once you start getting into that journey, there is a lot that you discover, and then you begin to narrow down to what you want to be in the fashion industry. The fashion industry in Kenya, it's really growing. Back then, there were very few designers. I have come through even the likes of Kiko Romeo. She actually mentored me a lot. So back then there were very few designers, and everyone who was aspiring to become a fashion designer in Kenya would definitely make sure you start doing internship in such brands, so that you can learn how to deal with customers, how to come up with a product line, how to manage fashion shows, how to deal with clients, because over the time I have realized, we have for women, we have different shapes. In Kenya, the Kenyan shape is different, from China, for example. So you realize that for Kenyans, or more, let's say Africans, they have longer bodies, and for Chinese they have shorter bodies. So when you're working around women bodies, then you understand how you make the patterns, and so that they have a good fit, and at the end they feel good about themselves despite of the shape. So over the time, during my career, I've just narrowed down to what I want to do, now and in the future. And it's just to be able to empower the local artisans back in the community. That's where I found the pain, and that is where I felt so connected with them, and I felt I have a passion to elevate them, their livelihoods. Because over the time, I would go to the community and I would see how they live, and it would really touch me so much. And I felt now it's the time I go out there and be their voice and tell their stories through their products. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What age were you when you kind of like began to know that this was going to be your calling in life?
That was back in high school, that I was around 14 years. That's when I felt, oh, I think I want to start to become a fashion designer, just because of how things were running at home, back at home, just mending clothes with my mommy. Mending our uniforms after school. I would tell her, "Mommy, my shirt is torn under my armpits," and she would say, "Okay, just bring it, then we fix it."
Okay.
And over time, I started actually fixing my clothes and my brother's clothes, and eventually, even after college, that's why I just I fell there, and here I am.
Right on.
When did you actually start creating the handbags, and how long before your first sale? How long did it take for you to sell your first handbag?
So I began PAMBO LETU in 2019, end of 2019, just when COVID began. Throughout that journey, I think it was quite challenging to start a brand, and at the same time, I was bringing my children up. They were pretty young, and they needed me, and I felt that was the time I needed to start the business. Though we didn't know how COVID was going to impact our lives after that, but I know it was hard for everyone. Trying to adjust things here and there. But yeah, that's when I began. And right after I actually started doing prototyping before I registered my business, because I already knew what I wanted to do. So I did the prototypes,
Okay.
and I called my friends, and they loved the product, and they just bought the product, and I was not left with any sample, because they couldn't wait for me
Huh.
to pull
Ah,
out a whole line.
very good.
So, yeah, so that gave me
Hmm.
a lot of more zeal to actually be able to work with the artisans in the community, because I go there in the community and we work together. We come up with colors, we come up with designs,
Hmm.
and yeah, and throughout that process, you find that it's very therapeutic to the artisans, because you're talking about your normal stories. How did it go? How old is your child? Is he going to school? What are the challenges? And those are the things that now the handbag, our product, PAMBO LETU
Hmm.
product, carries the stories of the artisans. So yeah.
How do you source the leather?
Yes, I source leather locally. Actually, all the raw materials are sourced locally. We have
Oh, that's
several
wonderful.
tanneries. Yes, we have several
Hmm.
tanneries that produce leather locally, and we have different textures, different qualities. So I'm happy that I'm able to source everything locally. Yeah,
Hmm.
build Kenya for Kenya.
Right. Are there different types of leather at the tanneries or one kind?
There are different types of leather. We have fish leather, we have cow leather, and then within the cow leather, there are different textures. There are others that are smooth, others are like nubuck. It just depends how you want to use the leather. It depends how
Hmm.
you want to use the leather. For Pamboletu, we just use the plain leather that
Hmm.
is not colored or has a lot of texture, because we don't use it entirely on the product, but it's just a blend. We
Hmm.
use it to blend the artisan fabric. So it's not our main raw material for the bag,
Hmm.
but canvas, the hand dyed canvas is the main material. It's the main fabric for our bag.
I see. I see. How do you get leather in different colors? I mean, it's some kind of way you have to treat it
Yes,
for
yes,
leather
it's
to be in
treated.
colors. How does that
Yes,
work?
it's treated, and then
Okay.
it goes through. Yeah, they, of course, they have to treat the leather, and then they have to pass it through the colors that they want to achieve. I mean, you can achieve blue, green, purple, any color you want.
Hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any bags present today that we could
Ye-
see?
yes, I am so glad that I can show you the bags.
Okay.
So when I started off with a clutch bag.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is this is Pamboleto's first product, and it has a little pocket there
Okay. Okay.
where you can slip in your phone, and it's safe in there. And then these other places you can use it for your cosmetics,
Uh-huh.
and those small things that you want to keep together. This just is an organizer for you. It keeps your things organized in your
Okay.
in your tote bag. Yes.
Okay.
And then I have a sling bag. It's the same size as the
Okay.
clutch
That
bag,
one
but
matches your dress.
yep. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. It does. Dark blue
Uh-huh.
and light blue. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So there's that, and then
Okay.
I have this one is pretty new. It's a shopper's bag.
That one's big. Hmm.
Yes. So here you can, put in things there, you know, if you're going to the market or if you're going to.
Does that one have pockets?
Sorry?
Does this one have pockets? Are there any
No, because
pockets
it,
inside of the big one?
no pockets for this one, because it's just you throw
Okay.
things in, and then if you have a clutch bag, then you know it has organized your things, and you just put it inside.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then the other one I'm going to show you is the big bag. Excuse me. Okay. So this one we call it the carry all tote bag.
Okay.
This carries everything. Everything. If you're going on a road trip, if you're going to the office and you need to carry your laptop along, it's that big, and it has 2 inside pockets. That
Okay.
and that.
Oh, that one does have pockets. Okay.
Yes, and it's really versatile, this one. Yeah, and then you can close it and you're good to go. The base is very firm. Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't get dirty when you put it down because it has the studs.
Coach, as you can see, this product is very, very well made.
Well made.
Very well made. And it also looks like she's using good quality materials and leather. I can't wait to get mine. And Coach, we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, I got to get a bag. I have one question. What does PAMBO LETU means?
PAMBO LETU means it's our decoration, our pride, our decoration, pride as a people.
So PAMBO is pride, or the two words together means pride?
Yes, you have to fuse it together.
Okay, and what it means is pride, pretty much.
Yes.
I like that name.
Our pride. Yeah. Our pride.
I like that name.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
PAMBO LETU.
Yes.
Queen, you have some additional questions?
Yes, I want to ask Lilian, what were you doing before you got into the bag business?
Okay, all right. So as I said, my journey has been, you know, in the fashion industry. So before I began the business, I had mentioned that I was, you know, starting my business at the same time taking care of my children. So I came out from employment. I was working with an NGO. I came out from employment at that time, and I was taking care of my children. At that time, yeah. So by the time, you know, I started PAMBO LETU, it was just time for me to go to the next step.
Queen, what are your future plans?
We've got a question here in the chat room for you.
Is that pure leather or racing?
So we've got a question. Right, we got a question for you from the chat room, and Coach is also asking you a question. Do you see the question on the board?
Yeah. Is that pure leather or resin? Yes, it's pure leather.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, very well.
What are your future plans, and what is your vision for PAMBO LETU? PAMBO LETU.
My vision for PAMBO LETU is to go global, because as it goes global, that means the community artisans are empowered. Their lives are changed. So that's what I see. To get PAMBO LETU to go global. Yes.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, when she says that when the brand goes global, I just want you to get that her whole reason for being in this business is so that she can help some of the local artisans that she's come to know. Okay. So when she makes it, they too make it. And
Yeah.
again, you heard her say that all of the raw materials for the product is coming from Kenya. So that's good to make in Kenya and also to buy in Kenya. So I'm sure the government is liking all of the things you're doing. Well, there's something we still got to know. We don't know yet. What is it, Coach?
What would you say to young entrepreneurs choosing this industry?
They need to know that a dream takes time. And they need to surround themselves with like-minded people and mentors who will propel them and who will push them to come to realize their dream.
And lastly, what drives you? What makes you stick to this vision, this dream?
Yes, it's a big dream. I think every time, I wake up in the morning, and first of all, it's something I love doing. Yeah, it's something I love doing. So with that, every day I wake up, I'm pushing myself to the next phase of the business, because it's something that I want to see change. That's what just drives me, and that's the passion that is inside me, to see lives changed, to to have empowered lives. So that's what drives me every single day. I see that, I see it. I see one day, the artisans that I work with, and, they are empowered, they are living better lives, because that's really about PAMBO LETU.
Well, here in America, we're gonna try to solicit and see if we can get some investors to get an interest into the product, because I believe in what you're doing, and I understand your vision and your mission. And it's always good when a collective is included. Everyone is included. It's not only a me. It's
No,
a
it's
we.
not.
It's a we situation, and that's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Lilian. I don't know
right,
if
thank
Queen
you.
has any additional questions.
Well, Sharon, you got to tell us what the bags cost. People are going to want to
Oh
know.
yes, Lilian, how much are
Yes.
the bags? Give us the prices.
Oh, sure. The list, which is the clutch bag, goes for $40, and the big tote bag goes for $150. That's the range. There are other prices in between, but the list is
So 40 to
$40
150.
to $150 for now, for the products that I have right now.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, very well. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing that these lovely bags range from 40 to 150 USD.
Very reasonable. Very reasonable.
Yeah, it is reasonable for purses. And you know how it is with a purse. A lady's got to have a bag damn near for every season, right?
You can never have enough of them.
All right. Thank you once again for coming on to the BongaDadaBonga show, Miss Lilian. We'll be checking back in with you maybe 6, 8, 10 months out to see how things are going with you in the business, what challenges
Yes, sure.
you may or may not be facing, and what we
Yes.
can do to help you further along the way of getting the product into the global market. Coach has said that she'll do what she can with you, so just make sure that you DM her
Yes.
offline and find out
Yes.
more about that.
I will
Okay.
do that.
Thank you once again for being on the Bonga Dada Bonga show.
Thank you,
Bonga
All
Lilian.
right. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things we're getting ready to do is this is Black History Month. And one of the things I'm finding out is that a lot of Africans born on the continent don't really know the African American story for whatever reason.
No.
And so we've decided that during the month of February and some other times during the year, we'll bring you some stories so you can get to know who we are. And in fact, we're going to start some of those stories right now. Coach.
Queen,
Tell us about Black history.
what I learned when I went to Ghana was that a few of the Ghanaians expressed to me that they were not taught African American history, and part of that is being that the Africans are embarrassed for the participation that they had with the transatlantic slave trade, and so it is not found in any of the history books. Nevertheless, we'll work on that. Black History Month is an annual observance originated in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month. It has received official recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, and more recently has been observed in Ireland and the United Kingdom. Significance to remember important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. African American history begins February 1st, 2023, and ends on March 1st, 2023. It has been observed for over 53 years. Queen?
Thank you very much. Now, this year, the theme for Black History Month is called Black Resistance. Black Resistance. And that draws attention to the fact that there's lots and lots of Black Americans who resisted oppression and who resisted discrimination for centuries, way back when. All right, and we're going to share some of those exciting stories with you today. Okay, so this entire month you're going to be hearing narratives and stories about African Americans in various walks of life, whether they were in music or dance or drama or theater or education or medicine, or even in the sky. We're going to be hearing about the types of things that they do. Now, usually when you talk about African Americans, people remember names like Muhammad Ali or Maya Angelou, or Martin Luther King Jr. But there are others that you don't know about. My question is, what do you know about other Black history heroes? What do you know? So today, we're going to give you stories of some of those heroes and some of those sheroes. So stay tuned, okay? And we want you to know that even though February has been set aside as the month for Black history is really every month.
Every month.
Black history is really every single day. All right? So we want you to know that you can celebrate Black history outside of February. Now, Christmas, December is the month for Christmas. And that's the time we normally give gifts. But you know, like I know, that you can give gifts anytime, any month of the year that you choose. So that's the same thing we're saying for Black history. You don't have to just wait till the month of February. In fact, there are some people who don't like the fact that it's been relegated to 1 month. They think Black history is all year long. I agree with that. And by the same token, I also like the fact and the idea of having a specific time to talk about it. It started out as 1 day. And from 1 day, it went to a week. And that took a very long time. And from the week, eventually came over to the month. All right? So we're going to right now begin to tell you some stories about some Black pioneers. Lilian?
Yes.
So talk to us about Mr. Abbott.
Yes, I was reading his story and it was amazing. He had very interesting strategy. So here it goes.
Okay.
Born on December 24th, 1870, to formerly enslaved parents in St. Simeon's, Georgia. Robert Abbott attended Hampton Institute in Virginia and then went on to graduate from Kent Law School, now Chicago Kent College of Law in Illinois, in 1899. In May 1905, he started publishing the Chicago Defender. In the early years, he personally sold this, subscription to the paper and advertising by going door to door. The paper attacked racial injustice, particularly lynching in the South. The defender did not use the words Negro or Black in its pages. Instead, African Americans were referred to as the race, and the Black men and the women as race men and race women.
Isn't that
Many
interesting?
in the South effectively banned the paper, especially when during the World War I, Abbott actively tried to convince Southern Blacks to migrate to North. Abbott managed to get railroad porters to carry his papers south, and he ran articles, editorials, cartoons, even trained schedules and job listings to convince the Defender's South readers to come north. The Great Northern Migration, as it was called in the Defender, resulted in more than 1 million Blacks migrating north, about 100,000 of them coming to Chicago. The Defender was passed from person to person and read aloud in the barbershops and churches. It is estimated that in height each paper sold was read by 4 to 5 African Americans, putting its readership to over 500,000 people each week.
My Lord.
Amazing.
Now let's just look at that for a moment. So what Lilian is telling us about Mr. Abbott is that he was a publisher, okay, and he was a writer and an editor. And what happened way back then is a barbershop would buy papers, and all of the people who come through the shop would get to read it. But also, it looks like the same thing was happening in the church. That's interesting, and also very wonderful. Very wonderful. Go ahead.
I'm dead.
She's done.
Oh, okay. So, so what we're saying is that Mr. Abbott had a newspaper that was called the Chicago Defender, and during that time, that paper was read by over 500,000 African Americans, with some of those papers being shared. You know how it happens. You buy the paper, it's in the house, you read it, and then you leave it. Somebody else comes along and read it. All right. Same story.
But Queen, this is what I wanted. Can I interject this? During that time, that 500,000 people read that paper, that demonstrates to you how much African American thirst for knowledge was and how they wanted to be educated. And today, I don't know how many people read the paper. So, and the attitude about education is not as zealous as it was then. And we really need to get back to that place where education is a lifelong experience, and it is something that you owe to God for being here on this planet. Learning is lifelong. I just wanted to, I'm an educator, so I had to throw that in. Sorry.
Okay, very well. Very well. So I will just wind up by saying that Mr. Abbott is one of our Black pioneers who we're featuring today on the BongaDadaBonga show. And this man was, he was in business. He ran a newspaper, and he did very well. So hats off to you, Mr. Abbott. May you continue to rest in peace and power. All right. So now our second pioneer that we want to talk about today is someone who I not only know personally, is someone I also love very dearly. Coach?
Okay, ladies, today it is indeed a pleasure and an honor to introduce to you And to some who may know, Maxine Waters, our Congresswoman from California, affectionately known as Auntie Maxine. She, to me, is considered the heart of resistance, as she is. She's a renowned politician, has been in politics for over 40 years. Congressman Maxine Waters is the 43rd Congresswoman of the District of California since 1999. The district numbers is one of the largest districts, in California, part of the 29th district, from 1991 to 1993, and as the 35th district from 1993 to 2013. It includes much of the southern Los Angeles, as well as portions of Gardena, Inglewood, and Torrance. Born Maxine Moore Carr on August 15, 1938, in St. Louis, Missouri. The political affiliation is Democratic, as part of her resistance.
Wow.
Auntie Maxine has 2 children. I'm aware of one daughter because she worked with her on the Capitol. We affectionately call her Maxine, Auntie Maxine, as mentioned in the beginning, because she is a fierce spiritual warrior, defender of justice and equality, and economic parity. She is a defender of prison reform and police reform, affordable housing, affordable health care, wage increase, and a demand for the George Floyd Political Reform Crime Bill Acts.
Wow.
She is instrumental in assisting in exposing Trump and the Republicans because she sits on the Finance Committee of Congress. Auntie Maxine has been labeled as a socialist. They've also called Bernie Sanders a socialist as well. And the Republicans asked her the other day to denounce socialism. Auntie fired back. Why don't you denounce President Trump and his white supremacists? And the room was silent. They asked her again, and she fired back. You denounce Trump, and you denounce white supremacists, and then we can talk. Auntie Maxine is a fierce warrior, defender, champion of her people, respected by all, loved by all. She fights for truth. She stands for truth. Highly vocal, assertive, viewed as aggressive, always on point, think on her feet. Auntie Maxine is also a member of the National Black Caucus on Capitol Hill and works collaboratively with all. Brilliant, well-poised, faithful believer in God. Does her homework. Always well prepared on any issue at hand. Excellent orator. She has faced some of her darkest hours with grace, mercy, and poise. We, the USA, African American, love Auntie Maxine. There is so much more to talk about Auntie Maxine. However, time does not permit. I merely desire to exemplify a bird's eye view of what resistance represents and mean to us. A luta continua. Amandala, back to you, Queen Dashanava.
Right on. Thank you for that great presentation of Congresswoman Maxine Waters. I will tell you that when I lived in Los Angeles, California, and of course she was a congresswoman and the state representative for California, I got to know her. There used to be a monthly event that was called the Black Women's Forum that was founded, if you will, by Maxine Waters. And then once a month, there would invite people down from the Hill over to California to come and talk to us about what their positions are on the Hill. It is really through Maxine that I began to understand how the government works. I know there's a lot of people working for the government. It just seems like a huge maze to me. But the truthfully speaking, everybody has a specific job to do. And she made us aware of the roles that our politicians play and that they're the ones who are answerable to us. Not that we're answerable to them, they are answerable to us. And I also learned through her, it's like whether you have a doctor, okay, uh, even your doctor is supposed to be answerable to you. Most of us look to the doctor to tell us what to do, but it's about time, as Coach keeps preaching to you, that you start being your own doctor. It's
Thank
about
you.
time that you start drinking that water and stop saying, I don't like it. It's about time that you started eating watermelons that had seeds in them. Why do you want a watermelon that's seedless? It ain't real. It's
It's
GMO.
it's
So
GMO.
Maxine and other women who she would bring in from the Hill would inform us on what the roles of various politicians were. And I'm telling you, she was creating a very powerful base in California because I was one of those women who would attend that event every month. And that's why I got to learn about Eleanor Holmes Norton and so many more. I also got to understand the important role that Shirley Chisholm played, who we talked about last week on the show. She is a Black woman who ran for president way back in the 70s. So I just want you to know that what we want you to know is about some of the other pioneers who you don't know very much about. We're going to talk a little bit about one more. Her name, Bessie Coleman. Bessie. A name like that, Bessie Coleman, 1892 through 1926. She soared across the sky as the first woman of African American and Native American descent to earn her pilot's license, okay? And she earned it in the US. She's known for performing tricks in the sky, okay? They gave her a nickname. She was Brave Bessie. She was Queen Bess. And they also gave her the name, the only race aviatrix in the world. Her goal, she had a goal way back then, and her goal was to encourage other women to take to the sky. Now, some of us have a fear of height, like me. So I've always wanted to bungee jump, but for some reason I haven't gotten there. But who knows, Lilian, maybe you'll bungee jump with me, or Lilian, maybe you'll bungee jump with me because she was for encouraging women, right, to go up high, to go up high. So if you are thinking about bungee jumping or anything like that, please let me know. I want to try something like that, but I've been too scared to do it on my own. Okay, now before she decided to become a pilot, she was a manicurist. Okay, and it was her brothers who inspired her to into an aviation career. She went to an American flight. Oh, the American flight schools wouldn't accept her because she was what? Black. Would not accept her. But that's okay. That's okay. She knew where to go to learn. So again, she was known for performing tricks. She was a champion for people of color, and she, however, survived a plane crash before the fatal accident she had. And she really died at an early age. She was 38 years old. She was in a plane, and there was some what do we call it when there's something like a storm or something coming up, and she was in the plane, and before she could get it all together herself, the weather got so bad until the plane started plummeting. And she actually died in a plane crash. She didn't have on her seatbelt at that moment, but she died at a very, very early age. But she did pave the way. Do hear this, ladies and gentlemen. She did pave the way for flyers like the Tuskegee Airmen, the Blackbirds, and the Flying Hobos. These are other groups of African Americans who began to take to the sky and get into the field of aviation. But she was a forerunner, if you will, of that happening in the world. So we just want to take time to thank all of our pioneers. And I hope you've enjoyed hearing the stories of some of these African American pioneers. Okay, thank you so very much. We're getting near the closing hour. So, Coach, will you give us some mentions? You may or may not do all of them, but let's try to stay within the time.
Okay, the DA Reparations Task Force would like to extend a huge thank you to all RSVPs registering for our event 2023, Reparations and the Black Vote. Queen, do you want to give an explanation on that, please?
Okay, reparations, which simply means we want to be paid. What happens when governments do things to you, as they have done to us as a people? You want to receive some remuneration for that. And throughout all these years in America, for whatever reason, they've overlooked giving reparations to the African American. Other groups of people have gotten reparations. Uh, Even recent people, in recent times, people have migrated to America and they're starting to get reparations, but yet they don't want to do anything for the African American in terms of reparations. I will say that the state of California, yes, Coach?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will say that the state of California has decided that they do want to pay reparations. So California is very busy right now trying to decide who they think should and should not receive the reparations. Now, even that part of it is a little interesting because when they gave out reparations to others, it wasn't about, you didn't have to prove nothing other than to show you a birth certificate. But in our case, they're wanting us to have to prove who we are to get that money. So that's what reparations is about. And as far as the vote is concerned, as you well know, I do live abroad, and the overseas vote does count. In fact, the overseas vote was the deciding edge for President Biden getting into office. So as we look into the future, we want to make sure that we are registered to vote and that we are also coming out to vote. It's one thing to be registered, but it's another thing to actually get yourself in the line and vote. So we're pushing even now for that, even more and more and more. Thank you. Back to you, Coach.
Democrats abroad will be hosting an event, Medicare. What do you need to know, together with the Global Senior Caucus and Global Disabilities Caucus, Sunday,
Yes.
February 19th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. ET. Tony Camis, Philip Blumenthal, and Heather Stone will be speaking. Please sign up and attend. Here is the registration link, and you can find it at the bottom of the post later on.
Yes.
You want to give a little note about that too?
Yes, I will. So bottom line is, in America, you pay into a fund for Social Security. And inside of that fund, part of it is used for medical benefit. It's called Medicare and or Medicaid, two different types. However, if you decide to venture abroad like I did, I, living abroad, cannot use my Social Security in America. Even though I am required to pay into the Social Security fund every month, I cannot use that insurance living abroad. So I am part of a committee that's called the Medicare Portability Task Force, and we are an advocacy group to the government to open up and allow us to use Medicare abroad. So just to tell you how I handled it, frankly speaking, I can't pay money into a system that I can't use because I'm living here in Kenya and I have to have medical assistance here or insurance here. So I'm not paying Medicare right now, but I am paying for local coverage here in Kenya. I can't pay for both of them. So at some point, I'll have to reckon with the American government about that. But meanwhile, I'm on the task force to push for us to be able to use. Because if I could use the Medicare abroad, I would pay for it, but I can't afford to pay for two.
Well, that makes sense, Queen, and I'm certainly going to help you with that one because I might be living abroad myself. So anyway, Soul Vegetarian Restaurant offers food, delicious vegan food, as well as cooking classes. The number is 0742 654 810. Lucille's Kitchen, sweet potato pie, and other mouth-watering treats.
I'm telling you.
0732 567 327. BongaDadaBonga. That was today.
BongaDadaBonga.
I don't BongaDadaBonga. Miss Aisha Dafara, Kenya's blood ambassador, is urging everyone to donate blood. Blood is needed in Kenya. Blood is needed in Syria. Blood is needed in America. Blood is needed in Morocco. Blood is needed globally. So if you find a place in your heart to do something for humanity and be a servant of God, please take a moment to go and donate some blood.
Okay.
Diabetes Peer Support Group. A peer support group is offered every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York City time, an hour and a half from 7 to 8:30. In there, you will gain the knowledge, the wisdom, the tenacity and fortitude to address your disease, to observe your routines, to follow your doctor's orders, and also attend all medical visits, and to ensure that you're managing and perhaps working towards eradicating that disease altogether. The class is free to the community. It is a private group, so you will have to call in for the number, and I am the facilitator of that group.
Okay.
Tuesday the 21st through Thursday the 23rd of February, Teacher Shreya Shah, timing 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The venue is the Zeneria Portico, Lower Kabidi. The phone number is 0729 130 556.
And I just want to take a moment, if I may, Coach, and say that Shaira is from Canada, but she happens to be in Kenya right now, and she is a lead facilitator in breath work. And she has come here to do some breath work. And she'll be performing it here in Kenya on the 21st to the 23rd of February. I'll be talking to you more about that, Lilian, to see if it's something you'd like to try. The breath work. Back to you, Coach.
If you're interested in joining Shah for that breathing class, which I think it would be awesome, you can click onto facebook.com Queen Mother Speaks, where you will find additional information and the cost of the class. And that's it. Back to you, Queen.
All right. Well, one more thing. We're just a few minutes over the hour, but I want to talk to you about Landmark Forum. Landmark Forum is a 3.5-day intense workshop. And I am here to tell you that if you take that course, it will change your life. You know, sometimes I hear people say things like that, and I'm like, how could that be? How could you do something in a weekend that could really change your life? Well, I'm here to tell you it is true, it is possible, and with the Landmark Forum, you really do get a chance on living your life fully and living your life out of love. Oh gosh, I've been doing landmark work now myself for over 20 some years. And I've learned so much about me and how to handle me and how to keep me from falling off the deep edge sometime. If I could give you an example of what Landmark Forum is like, let's say if you put on a pair of sunglasses and the lens of the glasses is rose colored. When you look through that rose colored lens, everything that you see is going to be what? Rose colored. Is that true?
Yeah.
What Landmark does is it gives you the distinction to know when you have on rose colored glasses and when you don't. Because sometimes we operate in such a way, right? Like whatever we say is true and whatever way we do it is true. But in Landmark, you get the distinction of knowing what the world looks like through rose colored glasses, and you get a chance to see what it looks like for what it really is. But Landmark is the training that gives you that distinction. So I want to give you this phone number, 0722 782 997, 0722 782 997. Please check that out, and you can get registered for the Landmark Forum course. Again, it's a very powerful training, and it's 3.5 days from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you end up on a Tuesday evening.
Queen, I have a question. Is
Yes.
this class for Kenya, or can anyone else take the class? Is this
I
class?
don't know if anyone from around I think anybody can take the class.
Is it going to be virtual?
Yes.
Okay.
It will be live in Kenya, but it will also be virtual. And I will definitely be there. I'll be working on the what we call people who assist team, because I've taken a lot of work with Landmark. I will be in the back of the room taking a stand for everybody in the seat that they in fact will get their transformation. Oh, it's a powerful thing. And Coach, if you haven't done it, what Queen Mother can say is, I don't know what else I could ever tell you in the world to do. Take the Landmark Forum. Same for you, Lilian, because we just don't realize how much we're limited by our own thoughts until we open up our thoughts. And what Landmark does is it really opens you up to looking at a bigger picture. And then you can choose versus just thinking that's the only way it is. It's a powerful training, very intense. Again, the number 0722 782 997. We thank you for tuning in to BongaDadaBonga. We're going to go ahead and end the show for today. But on next week on BongaDadaBonga, we will have more guests on the show. And we're also going to bring you some more African American pioneers who did things with Black history. So you get to know who we are and what we've done. We've done some powerful things. And a lot of the things we've done have also been stolen by other people. We get to learn a little bit about that too. But at this moment, I just want us all to, I want to give a very big shout out of BongaDadaBonga thanks to our BDB co-anchor, the one and only Coach Rakaya. I also want to thank Miss Lilian, okay, with the handbags. And once again, I put the number on the board so you can write it down and call her. If you get a hold of her by today, by weekend, you will have your bag. She does keep product in stock. She does keep product in stock. So I thank you again for tuning in. And I'm happy for those pioneers who have paved the way for us. And I'm happy to have you also tune in. And you're the one, because you're tuning in, you're the ones who put the icing on the cake. So we say to you, Asante Sana, Madasi, thank you, gracias, and Akwaba. This is BongaDadaBonga every Thursday, live at 7 p.m. Merci beaucoup, different ways to say thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Every Thursday, live at 7 p.m. And if you've got somebody with a story, let us know. We want to hear about it. What you can do is you just go to facebook.com/BongaDadaBonga and tell us who you are and give us information on who you want to see on the show. We will do the rest. Bonga dada bonga, bonga dada bonga, bonga dada bonga, dada bonga, dada bonga, bonga dada bonga, bonga dada bonga, bonga dada bonga, dada bonga, dada bonga.